Hey guys, so this is either going to be a little late or right on time, depending on, I guess, when you're actually starting. So we technically restarted our 2020-21 school year this week. So this is the first week we're back at it officially. I'll get to the point as to why we stopped, because we technically started earlier this year. So I wanted to give a couple, I guess, pointers or my viewpoints or thoughts for those that are choosing to do homeschool this year. I want you to know that it is overwhelming, the amount of materials and the amount of opinions that are out there. And yes, I'm another opinion, but I'm hoping that it can bring peace or some clarity, or if any help at all, to those that are starting off and they're brand new. So I have a couple of key points, questions that I think would be really good to help you with your mind frame and to clear the clutter out of all the opinions out. And the first one is, I highly recommend that you and your spouse sit down and really hash out, what is it that you value? What is it that you are valuing as a family for your educational goals and for how you want to guide your children? So my husband and I, we value two major things, which is how we choose to lead our kids and help them through their life. The first one is education that pushes. And what I mean by that is, like, we want to be able to push our children to the extent that they are able to, not overly demanding, but keeping them right there at the edge so that they can really sharpen their brains in the areas. That doesn't mean to overwhelm them. Like, for example, I have a child that just in general, she picks up on things pretty quickly of an overall scope, so we're able to generally keep her going in all areas pretty quickly. I have another kid that is a math whiz. We push her hard in that area, but she struggles in reading, so we're a little bit slower there. So we just keep them, whatever it is that they're individually, their level, we keep them right on the edge of, like, almost being too hard, just to keep them going. The second thing, and actually really the most important thing in my opinion, that we value for our children is discipleship. This is showing and training our children how to build a relationship and how to learn with the Lord. We walk this in a daily basis by lots of different Bible times and reading times, and something that I'm really excited about, I'm getting a little geeky here, I'll post it in the comments. For this school year, we always have done like Bible memorization and stuff like that, but we're working on a verse a week. So I'm choosing a Bible verse that I want them to memorize, and then throughout the entire week, in the morning, we're going to have what we call a Bible focus time. It is a question in regards to that Bible verse that we are memorizing, and they get to journal just a little bit. And again, this is like my third grader, I can push her for probably a paragraph, and my one that struggles in the reading writing department, we're working on getting a consistent sentence or two out consistently. And then in the afternoon, it's a end of the day journal question, and I try to err a little bit more on the silly side because they're really done usually by the time of day. They just want to be done, but I want them to wrap it back up and just to be able to write out a few last things to really have a written proof of how they progress through the year. That's really what this journal's for, is to see where they started and where they end by the time the year ends. But it also has a purpose. Morning time is really more so that you can get their little minds working and understanding, like, where we are digging into one verse all week long. Okay, what does this phrase mean? What does this phrase mean? What did Jesus say when he said this? Or what did he mean by this? And it really gets their brains working in that deeper embedding and memorization. And then the afternoon is more of their creativity, like creative writing and stuff like that. Okay, so the first point is, what do you value? Sit down, nail it down, and that can help guide how you choose curriculum. So this is more of a recommendation. If this is your first year, I personally recommend you starting with a kit. There are lots of different homeschooling kits. There ranges from secular to faith-based to whatever it is that you want. There's a lot of different curriculums. Choose one that looks good to you and start there. That will make your life simpler because kits come with all of the cores and you can get them from really like a lot of electives involved to just the basics. So just pick a kit that seems like it'll work for you. Don't overthink it because your brain will be fried. Use that kit then as you go along to figure out what works for your family. I learned because the first year we tried out 2 curriculums now of family style. And that's what I was going to say is like why we stopped and restarted. I tried family style, science, and history. History is usually okay, family style. It's a lot of storytelling and you can have each child memorize different things at different levels. And history doesn't really change. Science for my family does not work family style. The first year that we did it, we really trudged through and we kept going on and on. And it was just so incredibly boring, even to me. It was hard for me to teach. And the second science kit that we used for family style, it was way above my children's grade level. I even sat down my aunt, who is a 6th grade teacher, and she said, the science that was family style for my 3rd grader and 1st grader was really like a 6th grade level. So with that note, when you have your kit and you're noticing that something's not going to work for you and you can't see yourself going all year without pulling out your hair, guess what? Sell that part of the curriculum. We have this wonderful thing called Marketplace or wherever you want to sell it. Curriculum actually sells pretty quickly on these things, especially right now because homeschool stuff is selling like crazy because so many people are jumping on board with homeschooling. Sell it and try something else. Do not feel like you're tied down to it, and it's okay to make some changes throughout the year so that you can figure out what works better for your family. First thing, what do you value? Second thing, I would recommend starting with a kit for your first year. Third, organize a time frame. This means, say, from 8 a.m. until 1 or 2 p.m., this is school time. We are going to organize it into categories throughout depending on what your curriculum entails, but that time is going to be, we are not scheduling anything. I'm not taking phone calls as a teacher, unless it's like an emergency, obviously, but that is school time, which makes sense, right? Because when you send your child to school, from those hours they are in school, the teacher is there to teach. It is a job, and this establish organization and a structure for your school. Don't compromise. And I would highly recommend either Saturday or Sunday or however you do this, whatever works out better for you, is to sit down one of those 2 days and plan out your week. So I got a caveat here because I have always organized to some extent my school. Most of the time I had a thing on the wall that had each grade that I was teaching and what we needed to complete. So I'd say like English, we needed to get through 1 or 2 lessons a week and this and stuff. And it would just be a thing on our wall, which was fine. It worked for us initially. And I had a friend who's homeschooling for the first year, and I probably should apologize because I was slightly making fun of her. I was like, oh, look how cute you, because she sent me a picture of like a legit calendar with everything detailed and organized on it. And I was like, oh, look how cute for you, because she was asking me how I did it. But after I sent that message, I was like, actually, that's a really good idea. So I went to Target, and I got this really cute July to like June thing. And on it, it has the days, the weeks. And therefore, I can write each child what they need to do under it for that particular day. And why I actually like this better than my wall approach that I used to do is because say you get a little behind in a subject. Well, you can write that down And then for the next week, you can adjust things as you need to instead of just having it on wall and be like, oh, I got to get through this many a week. Well, you don't know if you're falling behind or if you're ahead of schedule and stuff like that. So having an actual schedule where you sit down on Saturday or Sunday, look through all of the books, and you organize it. Okay, Monday they need to do this, Tuesday this, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and organize it out. That way you know where you need to be and how you need to be, and then you can actually adjust it depending on your child's struggle level or not. Okay. Next, on that note too, if you are teaching more than one child and you have specifically multiple grades that you're teaching at one time, it can feel a little overwhelming when a child really needs you, but you're really trying to focus on this one child and get this point across so they can move on. So I highly, highly recommend to have a busy station, and I'll post a picture in the comments too of what we have. I have a good bunch of look and find books. I have a stack of just paper and stickers and stencils that they can do. And I have a thing of Scholastic readers that they can read if they want to do that. And I have some like magnet dolls and stuff like that. Something that they can grab that is not distracting. They can sit there quietly if they have a question, like they can't move on unless I answer their question. They go grab something from there, sit down, and they can do it until I'm able to get there to them. That way, you as a teacher don't feel overwhelmed by having to like, Papa, but I need help, please, I can't move on. Because I've never had that happen before. They can focus on something so that you can be organized and maintain your focus on this kid until you are finished. Okay. This next one, it's very important. Set rules and be consistent. Look at me in the eyes. I'm looking into the camera now. You are in charge. Is the kid in charge? No. You as a teacher are in charge. And it is okay to tell your children that. Set up the rules, talk about them, explain the rules as to why you want them to behave a certain way in a certain time period. If your children have come from public school, then they have a great example because they had to operate in a certain way in public school, right? So, yes, you're in your home. Yes, it may seem like a more relaxed environment, but I know for my kids, I make them get up at a certain time. I tell them to get dressed, brush their teeth, come down, sit at the table for breakfast at a certain time. They have to be dressed and ready to go for school in the morning at a set time. That's the beginning part. Then we have organized days. If I can tell they are being mopey or something like that, then we talk about it and we figure it out. And if they're going to not be ready for school, then they can go to their room and we can restart their day. Or depending on, most of the time I just have to give verbal warning because I've established things by now. But I'll say give yourself a time frame depending on the age of your children. Well, I say like 2 weeks. Say for the first 2 weeks, I'll consistently remind you. After that, we'll have the consequences play out if you choose to blatantly disobey or something like that. You are a school in your house. And if you do not have these rules and these boundaries, it's going to make it really hard for you to teach and for your children to learn, especially when you're dealing with multiple children. And then last but not least, hold on just a second. Sorry about that. This could have been point number 1, but I want you to see why this is so important. It is for you as the teacher to set a schedule for yourself and to be organized. I kind of touched into that as having like an organized time and also having a schedule and stuff like that. But if you don't value things for yourself, if you don't set your priorities and what you value and actually literally schedule them and have them as like non-negotiables for yourself, then it's kind of like a trickle-down effect. Things just start getting chaotic and out of whack and crazy. So for me, I know if I personally, what I value of myself is my time with the Lord without any distractions. If I don't wake up before everybody else and have a really good, intimate time with the Lord. And the rest of my day gets a little wonky. So for me, a set in stone priority is I wake up at 5 a.m., I grab my coffee, and I sit down with the Word and I study my Bible. And then I start the day with the kids. And hold on, I have a kid talking. Sorry. I have a scheduled quiet time for my kids too. It's from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. And that is the time they don't have to take a nap, though I highly recommend it. That is a time for them to dive into the Bible, have a prayer journal time, and then to read a book or play quietly with their toys. But it's just a time that all of us, considering we're in the house a lot together, can have our own mental time frames and our own breaks, and to restore our own individual energy, honestly. So anyway, okay, so set a schedule, be organized. If you do not plan, you will struggle. That's basically it. So the couple of points is nailing down what do you value. I recommend starting a kit for your first year and go from there. Organize a time frame for school and do not compromise. Set rules and be consistent. I can't say that enough. Be consistent. Consistency in the beginning will help you long term. All right, and set a schedule to be organized for yourself and plan. All right, I hope that helps. It's kind of a long video, but I'll be posting some pictures in the comments to try to help you out a little bit more. Bye, have a good day.